Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Happy Monday magic. I am back. It has been a full week since I posted a video. And yeah, it's very unlike me to get sick like that. I was under the weather a good 10 days before I started some antibiotics for a sinus infection. And my voice is still a little bit scratchy, but at least the coughing fits have subsided. So I can actually have a conversation without hacking up a lung. So yeah, there is some clear, I don't know if you want to call it guidance, but it's, we're being asked to shift and change. We are clearly being asked to let go of things, to release attachments, to shift and evolve and adapt and change the way we're going about things. And it really feels like a lot of shadow purging. The term spiritual warfare even came to mind, that it has been extremely intense for quite a while. And I will admit that my own personal tendency is to be very optimistic and to look for the good. And I've done a lot of work on shifting my neural pathways and changing my mindset to really stay focused on things. But there are times where you have to acknowledge that something's up, right? And so I don't think I said this, but today's Monday Magic Intuitive Energy reading, right? And of course, and just the preface I always give, this is my read on the energy right now. If you are not in the same place as me, don't shoot the messenger. Many of us are going through something similar, but it's not always the same. And no one has really been able to put their finger on why people experience certain energies and when. Could have something to do with the ley lines, could have something to do with your current vibration. It could have something to do with just your state of being in your life, that you are not able to receive things until other things complete. You never know. So enough about that. But the way I have experienced it over the last week was just a continuation of the really, really challenging energy. And even if we look back at September, things were challenging. October, things were really challenging. November, most of November was pretty challenging. But I'm happy to say that there was some relief that started to come through on Saturday. And that seems to have ebbed and flowed. And it's like a little bit better. Maybe we took a step back. Today's feeling a little bit better again. And I do get a really strong sense. And I want to be careful with this. I want to acknowledge that I feel you, I hear you, even if you don't comment. I want to acknowledge that I am constantly telling you there's good just around the corner. There's good just around the corner. I will say that that is my honest understanding. And I don't want to be Pollyanna-ish. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So I want to be really careful about that. But at the same time, I want to be able to deliver you a sense of hope and relief. And there is plenty of evidence, whether it is my intuitive sense as well as just astrological shiftings and changing, that are pointing to December as a much easier month. So I want to give you that hope, while also acknowledging the density that we are working through. Like, it literally feels like quicksand right now. And not right now, I would say last week. And pulling out of that right now, I guess I would acknowledge that. When I sit in meditation and really ask for, why do we have to experience this? What are we experiencing? What is happening, and why is this necessary? What first came through was resistance, that we are in a lot of resistance to what is, that we choose to, that feels harsh before it even comes out, but our tendency is, especially as anyone who has experienced a challenging upbringing, our tendency is to look at the negative first. That we, in our survival brains, have trained ourselves to look for what the problem is so that we can anticipate it and get ahead of it and prevent pain, which is healthy in some cases when it actually is a real problem, if there actually is a tiger chasing us, which is not usually the case. And so we tend to look for the negative and then hyper focus on the negative, which then of course amplifies the negative. And it's difficult. I mean, I was laid up, right? I could not function. And that is unusual for me, and it's uncomfortable for me. I enjoy my work. It brings me joy, and I really want to be here and to do these things. And so, to even point the finger at myself, right? To say, I was in resistance to that. I did not want to be there. And I was not looking for the beauty in it. And that was sort of the second piece that came through, is that if we are not looking for the beauty in everything, we won't be able to see it. We're clinging to the way things should be, the way we want things to be, the way we expected them to be, and we're not fully surrendering into the moment and what is being asked of us in that moment. And sometimes what's being asked of us in that moment is to wade through the quicksand, to sit in the shadow. And where did that go? There was, one note was, shadow is created by perception of the absence of light. Ask for correction. And so we're creating our own pain by being in resistance to the current energy. And we create a bigger shadow and we amplify the darkness by focusing on it and not looking for the light, that there is beauty available always. But when we are not looking for it, that is evidence of how far we are from the creator. And then that clinging to the expectation, the clinging to what we think should be, is just creating more pain, right? So pain is created through resistance to what is. And it also said that we're trying to do it alone, that there's a recognition of the difficulty of these times. And I'm more so speaking to the past than I am to the future. I think it was just really important to me to address what we have experienced. While it is lightning and we do have relief on its way in right now, a recognition of what we have experienced is really important. And the guidance was to stop trying to do it alone, that in those moments when it is dark, when it is heavy, when we're feeling frustrated, we're feeling impatient, that we are to ask for a shift in perspective to help us see the light, to help us look for the beauty, but also to lean on the divine. And that was one of the things that came through really strongly, is, when I ask, why do we have to experience these dark and heavy moments? The response was to draw you closer, right? That we have that opportunity to surrender to it, to lean into it, to give it to the divine, and to ask for assistance with that. And I will say, in those moments, when I've struggled and I couldn't sleep for nights on end because I was just coughing and coughing and coughing. I literally at one point I was like, God, you got to help me, because I feel like I'm dying. And it was in that moment where I literally envisioned myself giving my physical body and my health to the divine and saying, this is in your hands. I can't fix this. And there is relief in that. There is comfort in that. There is relief is the best word, right? That it is easier. And I really, like, sometimes I don't want to deliver these messages because they're not as fun. They're not as hopeful. They're not as optimistic and bright and beautiful as I would like to deliver the messages. But sometimes we have to say the hard thing, even when we don't want to hear it. And so the guidance was that rest was needed. Rest is needed, is how that came. Actually, it was rest was needed. Is how that came through. And a test of faith. That are we going to, makes me think of like the 2-year-old throwing the tantrum. Are we going to throw the tantrum and go, it's not working for me, I didn't get what I want, my toy, right? Like, I haven't manifested my thing yet, therefore I quit and I give up, and I'm going to have a really bitter attitude and screw creation, divine, whatever, this sucks, I don't want to be here anymore, right? I want to exit this planet. I'm done with the karmic cycle. I don't want to be here anymore. Right. It is a little bit like a tantrum when we have those moments. Like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm not even sure if I can swear on YouTube or Facebook, but I just did. So there are those moments where we feel that, right? And so that is the test of faith. Are we going to lean in? Are we going to give it up? Are we going to trust? Are we going to surrender into, dance to the music that is currently being played? And in this case, it, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to project on anybody, but it wasn't fun. Right. And that's the truth of it, but it doesn't have to be as difficult as we can make it by focusing on the negative, by clinging to the past, by clinging to what we want instead of what we are getting, by being in resistance to what is instead of just embracing what is. Right. And then, of course, after that, there's a little bit of reassurance that in that test of faith, when we remain committed, I give it to the divine. Whatever's happening is happening for a reason. I'm surrendering into the rest. I stopped making videos for a week. I stopped posting. I canceled appointments. I literally committed to the rest and leaning into what I was being asked to do. And then, of course, the guidance is that rewards will come, that there is a reward for these tests, that there is, and nobody likes to hear the strengthening that is happening, but it's true that there is a benefit. And on the other side, right, hindsight's 2020, that as we get closer to the goal that we are trying to manifest, the thing we are working on, that when we receive it, we will very quickly move on to the next thing, right? So we just really need to focus on life is happening for us, not to us, and that it is up to us to maintain sustained focus and effort over time, right? So that really is the name of the game, right? Keep your eyes on the divine at all times, that this is all under control. Everything's happening as it should. Something is being worked on in the background that I can't see. I also have Sun in the 12th house right now, as well as I know one of our other wonderful family members does, and that can feel shadowy. There's a lot of shadow in the 12th house, right? So sustained focus and attention, focus and effort over time, right? So eyes on the divine, trusting, having faith, surrendering in that, and mastering our mind. That was another fun one that came through. I guess just a reminder, right, that we are creators. We're creating all the time. We are creating with our thoughts. And if we're focusing on the negative and we're grumbling about how it should be or how we want it to be with attachment to the outcome, then we are going to experience difficulty. And it's degrees of challenge, I guess, would be a good way to put this, that it doesn't have to be as hard. It won't be as painful if we give it up to the divine and we lean in, we surrender, we dance to the music that is being played, and we master our mindset, because our thoughts are everything. All is mind. This is all mental. The whole freaking game of life is mental, right? So we've got to reprogram those neural pathways that refuse to go to the place of darkness and complaining and giving up and tantrum, and stay in. Now, this is good. It's good. I'm really, right? Curiosity is a fun way to approach this. Get really curious. Like, I really wonder, how is this going to play out? How is this going to work in my favor? How is this going to serve me? Because life is happening for me, not to me. Right. And just really stay vigilant in how we are creating things. Ask for help. Asking for help was really strong guidance. Remember that this is not up to us. That's where we really get stuck, is we believe that I have to solve the problem, or I created this problem, or finding the solution is all up to me. And that's not keeping our eyes on the divine. That's ego. That's ego believing I am separate, therefore I am lacking, therefore I need this certain outcome to solve this lack so that, I can feel like I'm in control, right? So really be diligent about your perspective. Ask for help in shifting your perspective. Ask for help in looking for the beauty in everything. Ask for help in having a right mind. And remember, the atonement is at one mind, to have oneness, right, with the divine. To be at one mind is to think properly. And that is the answer to all the things. is thinking appropriately. So ask for help in that. Okay. All right, I made it through the video without coughing. That's awesome and amazing. So progress. I love you guys. I am not sure how often I will be posting this week. Part of what I'm being asked to let go of is such a I don't want to say rigid, but I have been really, really committed to posting every day, and that's great. But we have the new Earth Construction Team community now, and I am fully dedicated to that. I really need to give that my focus and attention. So I'm going to be diverting some of my commitment to YouTube to the community and making sure that this beautiful, safe space, healing space, creative space thrives and flourishes. And so if you are missing me, one, make sure you're subscribed so that you get notified of when I do post. Not sure what that new cadence will be yet. And two, come join us, $20 a month in the New Earth Construction Team community, link below, where there will be daily content there. All right. I love you guys. I will see you on the next video. Please do let me know if this serves you. Otherwise, I will see you when I see you. Take care. Namaste.